Okay, so we read the first three paragraphs, and you all have read it and annotated for exposition anything that you need to know in order to get started reading the story. So I want you to read on your own in your independent reading time. This section here that shows the history of the Finches, Finches Landing, and how Atticus came to live in Macomb instead of Finch's Landing. I'm going to start reading and annotating for character development. This introduces us really to some background about Atticus, and you are going to be doing a character analysis of Atticus. So I will read, and then I'm going to go back and do some modeling of annotating for evidence about the kind of person Atticus is and his background. So it starts with, when my father was admitted to the bar, he returned to Macomb and began his practice. Macomb, some 20 miles east of Finch's Landing, was the county seat of Macomb County. Atticus' office in the courthouse contained little more than a hat rack, a spittoon, a checkerboard, and an unsullied code of Alabama. His first two clients were the last two persons hanged in Macomb County Jail. Atticus had urged them to accept the state's generosity in allowing them to plead guilty to second-degree murder and escape with their lives, but they were Haverfords in Macomb County, a name synonymous with jackass. The Haverfords had dispatched Macomb's leading blacksmith in a misunderstanding arising from the alleged wrongful detention of a mayor, were imprudent enough to do it in the presence of three witnesses and insisted that that son of a bitch had it coming to him was good enough a defense for anybody. They persisted in pleading not guilty to first-degree murder. So there was nothing much Atticus could do for his clients except be present at their departure, and an occasion that was probably the beginning of my father's profound distaste for the practice of criminal law. During his first 5 years in Macomb, Atticus practiced economy more than anything. For several years thereafter, he invested his earnings in his brother's education. John Hale Finch was 10 years younger than my father and chose to study medicine at a time when cotton was not worth growing. But after getting Uncle Jack started, Atticus derived a reasonable income from the law. He liked Macomb. He was Macomb County born and bred. He knew his people, they knew him. And because of Simon Finch's industry, Atticus was related by blood or marriage to nearly every family in the town. So that's where we're going to stop with this part. We're getting to know Atticus. We know that Atticus is the narrator's father, Jim's father. And I'm going to highlight this here, and I'm going to make a comment that Atticus was a lawyer. We know that because he was admitted to the bar, meaning he went to law school, or he passed the law exam, passed the state bar exam, which is what lawyers have to do after they go to law school to actually become a lawyer. We know that Macomb was the county seat. This is more exposition. So I'm going to make that a different color. Well, it didn't make a different color. Let's do it this color. There we go. And I'm going to make a little note here that that's going to be relevant to the plot, because that means they'll have the trial. Why did it do that, y'all? It just doesn't love me today. Let's try that again. County seat of Macomb County. There we go. So I'm making that a little bit less relevant to the plot. We know, because we watched the movie first and we've done some background research, we know that means that they're going to have the trial there in the town. Okay, so what else might we say? Okay, he had his office in the hat rack. He had a office in the courthouse that didn't have much there. His first two clients were the last two persons hanged in the Macomb County jail. Bad start. And I'm also going to go ahead and write this, and then I will annotate it. Bad start, dislike of criminal law. So, oops, well, that's a little bit more. Probably the beginning. My father, I'm just going to highlight this. My father's dislike of criminal law. And I did it again. Oops, I did it again. So we know that at the time that this started, he did not practice criminal law. Okay, so we are annotating. I told you to annotate these two paragraphs for character evidence about Atticus. But if you see other information that you think, ooh, I need to remember this, go ahead and highlight it in a different color. Like I wanted to point out that it was the county seat because that makes me know that he doesn't have to travel outside of his town to work. Also, what did I see here? I'm going to do a little song while I find the word. 20 miles of finishless landing, da 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 da. Dispatch, misunderstanding. I saw a word that's not a very familiar word. May come in practice, 20 miles, finishless landing, county seat, Atticus's office, hat rack, spittoon. I'm not going to circle this. A spittoon is what they used to have around to square here. They used to have spittoons for people to spit in when they chewed tobacco or dipped snuff. Spittoon. I remember seeing those a lot when I was a kid. Now I'm seeing a word here, unsullied. I don't know what that means. I really do, but I'm going to pretend I don't. So I'm going to look up unsullied definition. Not spoiled or made impure. So that's a word that's new to me. So I'm going to highlight that, copy it, take it back thither and yon to Cami. And here I'm going to put a comment right here. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me see what it's going to do here. Okay. Unsullied means it's spoiled. It sounds like Dr. Seuss. Not spoiled or made impure. So we know unsullied Code of Alabama. That means that that means that Atticus held that in high regard. Unsullied. He believed in the law. So that's something that you would want to write there too. Okay, so that is all for this. I want you all now to look at these two paragraphs and start annotating and even making notes about Atticus Finch. And I'll try to do this in class together. So if you have questions, you can ask me.